Okay, I believe that we are live, and I believe that I am finally sharing my screen, but you will not be able to see me. But that's okay. That's okay. That's going to be all right today. So you're going to be able to hear me, but not see me. Okay? So some of you I see have already shared my previous live, and so you know that uh and let me see if there's an option for me to stop sharing my screen. Yes, okay. But once I stop sharing my screen, it appears that like I'm stuck and I will not be able to go backwards. But for the sake of how important this is to go over, we're going to do that thing. So we're going to go to the city of Charlotte. Um, budget. Okay. There we go. All right. So this gets you immediately to the city of Charlotte. And of course, it's .gov. So these are the verified budgets from each year. Now, and I hope that you can actually hear me. Let me actually check that, because I tell you, this is just, Facebook or Meta needs to get it together, because there needs to be an option to not have to compromise not being seen, as opposed to, also being able to share. It needs to be integrated well. So let's
Not
see.
being seen.
Okay, perfect. So you can't hear me. I just figured that out. And I can see your comments. So I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to say good evening again. Come on, join me. We're going to take 30 minutes to do this today. Since I have, we've lost time, and I do apologize for that, but we'll go over some of these things very quickly. These are things that you need to see. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go on back over here. And give me 1 second. I promised a citizen that I would call them at 7:30, so I'm letting them know that I'm going to call them at 7:45. So I'm going to end this live promptly at 7:40 so that I do not miss that phone call. Okay, so here we go. If you joined me earlier, then you know again, and if you're looking at the topics for this live, then you know it. One of which is, who can we trust on this ballot? So we're going to pull that up as well. We're going to go to Mecklenburg County Board of Elections and find our ballot, a sample ballot. Okay. I mean, y'all already know who I am. It ain't, my ballot, this is just not privy information. It's not. We know you can pull this up for me. All right. So that's me, y'all. Okay. See? Even the Board of Elections know I'm black. Okay. All right, let me stop goofing around here. Okay, so let's pull my ballot, which you all have seen. You've seen the check marks that I had, but I just wanted to go through the process as well to show people how simple it is to access this information, get people in the habit of being more engaged in politics, and of course, as I always say, lessening the intimidation factor of deciding upon, who you should vote for. Okay, so in looking at this ballot, we're also going to compare, and I am sharing my screen, so transparency on the max level today. Let me go to my Finder. I'm going to show you my ballot. Yeah, there it is. Oh, wait. No. Hold on. Check. Ballot. Trying to pull it. Well, I was trying to go faster. Wasn't giving me the love. When you think organization, honey, organization is on the max. Okay, where's the ballot? Give me the ballot. I don't know where it is. Can't remember where I put it. There it is. Checked ballot. There we go. Okay. So let me close this out. All right. There we go. So we'll have them side by side. Let me make sure you can see this. I want you to be able to see, because I believe I'm sharing my entire screen. And tell me in the comments, because I'm checking my comments now from my phone. So tell me in my comments if you can see everything. Because the point of this is so that you can see it. I can see that you can see it. I can see that you can see it. All right. Okay. So we've got, let's move this over just a little bit and put this over here like so. Okay. So we see this ballot. Now, there are a lot of names here for the U.S. Senate. And there are a lot of names for the Board of Commissioners and the City Council at large. The City Council at large, it makes more sense, and the Board of Commissioners at large makes more sense because you choose 3, of course. You'll notice that I have not made any definitive choices for Board of Commissioners except for Patricia Kaufman. I have my concerns about all of the other candidates. I am not convinced to the point of resolved regarding any of them, and I have my own opinions. I would like to hear yours. I would like for this to be an open discussion. I shared my views on yesterday, but I did not go into detail with regards to the Board of Commissioners at large. I am inclined, however, to vote for Yvette Townsend Ingram because I do really appreciate the fact that she wants to now stand in the gap where Ella Scarborough served, and is willing to accept the baton of public service, metaphorically, and, literally take on that service role. I respect her for that. So I do want to make sure that I have made that statement aloud out into the world. And then I am also inclined to give greater consideration to Arthur Griffin Jr. I have met and I have had good rapport with Lee Altman, and I feel that she's on the right side of justice, but my biggest concern is that she is endorsed by the BPC, or has been in the past. And that does concern me because of what I've shared with you. We, at this point, cannot trust the BPC endorsements. We cannot trust the Charlotte Post endorsements. And I must admit it, based on yesterday, and we need to get to this point as well. Based on yesterday, stumbling across the scorecard from the LGBTQ plus community, who I support 1000%. I have my entire adult life, because in my adolescence, I had little knowledge of, a specific community. I was raised that all people are my people. So I've always just, view them as people. But as soon as I knew that there was a community designation, I have always consistently, supported equality and equity. And so that said, how and which and ever, we got an issue if they are scoring Vi-Laus as excellent. That is quite absurd considering the Republican dollars that, that back her. This is a widely known fact. This is not a Tigris McDaniel thing. This is not a defamatory thing. This is not, I don't like Vi-Laus. None of that. It's none of those things. We have to be objective in our voting decisions. We have to start getting real about how we vote. And we need to start talking about how we vote and how we should consider candidates. We should not be considering candidates on emotives and popularity contests and how much money they are going to pay campaign volunteers. Well, I guess that's an oxymoron. How much they're going to pay campaign staff, if they can even hire campaign staff. Because in my case, I can't even afford to hire campaign staff. So if that were a determinant, a determining factor on whether or not you should vote for me, then that would be, a negative notch. That would be a deduction of points for me. And that should not be the case. We should not be voting on those determinants. The scorecard is very, very disconcerting. Now, that said, and maybe I'll do it when you can actually see me, because I don't want this to come across in an impersonable way. That is not my intention. I want to engage everyone. I want to know that you're here. I want to see your comments. Right now, I just see, I see Lauren. Hi. I do see Lauren. How are you this evening? I don't want this to come across. Let me say hello. That is not my intention. Okay. Good evening, Lauren. Everyone, I want to know that you're here. I want to see your comments. Right now, I just see, I see. You may be able to hear my... It's so funny. I'm determined that I was going to get the screen sharing going, even at the compromise of you not being able to see me and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it's more important that you see the documents. Okay. So, excuse me. All right. And I just got a message from the gentleman that I promised a phone call to. So we're good to go. Excuse me. All right. Had to take a pause for the calls for the water. Thank you to the water for giving life and sustenance. All right. So, but yeah, so that's a big issue right now. The scorecard, and I said it and I'm going to say it again. I love the LGBTQ plus community. Now I'm going to say this part again, but I am extremely disappointed in their scorecard. Their decisions on the scorecard. Now, this is the part where I said I don't want it to be impersonable, because I would much rather you be able to see my face when I'm saying these things. And I would like to be able to engage the person who evidently shared concerns that they believe that maybe I did not have a full understanding of the determinants or the criterion for the score card, the scoring system? No. My answer is immediately no. I know that they didn't ask a question. They just made a statement, but my response and answer is immediately no. The reason being is exactly what I posted online. Let's go back to that really quickly so we can see it in real time and see what I was talking about, because you can see my screen. So we're going to go all the way back and we're going to read it verbatim. Let's pull this comment up. All right. This was my response. I effectually have 4 degrees in 3 considerably different and rigorous subjects, 2 of which will be a PhD and a JD. And most notably, I'm enlightened. That's the most important factor here. Excuse me. So I think I can apprehend the commonsensical definition of a scorecard. We must stop over-splaining the obvious. The scorecard still communicates to the masses of Charlotte that officials elected or vying for office that appear on this scorecard, again, are approved. I've attached a real-time screenshot of the official City of Charlotte website, which conspicuously displays all of the current elected officials. I've also reattached the LGBTQ plus Democrats of Mecklenburg County self-promulgated scorecard. Dante Anderson, Bill Madeline, Kendrick Cunningham, Robert Hillman, nor James Smudgy Mitchell are current officials. They are not current elected officials. Thus, again, it is not merely implied that the scorecard is an effectual endorsement. It is indefensible that Charlotteans will perceive it as an endorsement of these candidates. We're not going to entertain obfuscation. Obfuscation, that's the word I use all the time. That's when someone intentionally confuses the facts. They misrepresent the facts to over-justify. So we're not going to entertain obfuscation, manipulation, and over-justification. We're not going to do it. If we really want change, if we really want transformation, if we want reform of our legal system, and we want reform of city government, misappropriation of funds and ineptitude and subpar service, if we want to have reform of police brutality and we want better relationships and better service from our police department, then we cannot obfuscate. We cannot manipulate the facts. We cannot over-justify the facts. And I finished with a healthy conversation has honesty, empathy, and objectivity at its core, which again is the purpose of Charlotte, We Need to Talk. Let's look at this picture. These are the current elected officials. So if they were purporting, where I'm talking about the LGBTQ plus community, if they were purporting to have scored the current administration, the current city government, and exclusively only scoring them, then I could understand. I would have no contention. I would have no confusion in them scoring the current administration only. But as soon as they added, and let's go to this, as soon as they added other individuals, and I'm sorry, I think I posted the wrong thing. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we'll go in real time. Ain't nothing. We'll go in real time. So hold on one second, because I posted it, and we'll do it in real time. It's not like they took it down. Doubtful they took it down. What you think? Doubtful they took it down. Okay. Nope, they didn't take it down. Here we have excellent, sufficient. Okay? You see this? Arthur Griffin is not an elected official. You get this? Laura Meyer is not a current elected official. Let me make sure, because let me go to the other one as well, because they've got them all up. Oh, goodness. And then they even showed, let's see. Here's another one. As I said, James Smudgy Mitchell, candidate for city council at large, is not a current elected official. And it's quite disturbing because let's see here, they had their own events where they released, let's go to it. Our sufficient candidates have voted in support of issues of major importance for the LGBTQ plus community and mostly align with our values. We appreciate their support and look forward to continued partnership. You can find their answers to our questions at Charlotte Scorecard. So this is another issue. Again, he is not a current elected official. There are individuals who were scored. Dante, and where is the rest of it? Let me go here. Maybe I'll find it there. There we go. Kendrick Cunningham has never been in office. So it nullifies the over justification that the criterion is based on how they have voted in the past. So maybe you could say, okay, well, what about James Smudgy Mitchell? He's actually been in office. So they're using his past voting record to score him. You see that? But in this case, Kendrick Cunningham has not had any voting history because he has not ever been elected. So then that completely nullifies that over justification. So we're going to stop with that and we're going to leave it there. And I said what I said. I love the LGBTQ plus community. My concern is that the LGBTQ plus Democrats of North Carolina are not representing the LGBTQ plus community well with these scorecards because they're giving the impression, and it is indefensible. There is no argument that would stand its ground in this regard. None of it would substantiate the reasoning that is being purported. Because again, there are individuals, Billy Madeline, Dante Anderson. Dante Anderson has said it herself that she is a first-time candidate running for office. I know that she is, well, I don't know, and maybe, but I believe that she is, I believe that she has said herself that she is part of the LGBTQ plus community. But that should not be sufficient alone because there are LGBTQ plus community members who do not demonstrate great support for the LGBTQ plus community as a whole. And they cause very great divide. Just like there is racism within different ethnic groups. Like, unfortunately, I'm going to use this example because it's most readily recalled in my mind right now. But we know that there's a plague amongst Black people where we judge even our own people by the depth, the richness of their melanated skin, which is the effectual paper bag test. That said, we know that there are some Black people who do not represent, do not demonstrate the consensus of Black America, nor Black Charlotte. And they cause great divide. They promote hate against those who have richer melanated skin. Equally, in the LGBTQ plus community, there are those who feel like there are different tiers to being gay, quote unquote. There are conservative gays who feel that flamboyant gays are not a good representation of their whole community. There are those in the LGBTQ plus community, get this, who do not support transgender people. There are those who don't support those who are bisexual. There are the same level and extensiveness of infighting and discrimination within a group, just as within the Black community. And it's sad. So they should be very careful. And I'm not picking on them, but they as a group that is hyper marginalized, they should be very, very careful in how they score and how that is perceived by charlatans. My goodness, I'm not even on here for sufficient, honey. Like, damn. Insufficient concern. I'm not even on the scorecard as sufficient. I definitely would not be insufficient or concerning. So it's not making any sense. And furthermore, no one presented me with a scorecard. I have made myself readily available to all charlatans, all associations, and you all know it. If you tweet me, I respond in probably less than a minute. If you call me, I pick up my phone, or I text you immediately after to let you know whether or not I'm available and when I will be available to speak, and whether or not I can answer your question or, address you by text. I answer all of my emails in real time. I submit all of my questionnaires in record time. I've definitely received a noteworthy continued recognition of that in every election cycle. Wow, you're the first to respond. No one's responded yet. I RSVP in record time. Why would I not respond to their scorecard and answer their questions? It's too simple. It's too simple. So we can make supposition, and I can say that it was favored toward Vilaus. Do I want to do that? Do I want to do I want to draw those conclusions? I don't want to. But what else do we have to go on? Even Lucille Pickett does not appear on this. We would both, at the very least, be noteworthy for sufficient recognition on their scorecard. And I'm going to say I should be excellent, honey. I know I should be excellent on the scorecard. And so it is very, very concerning. Again, if it were just the current administration, I would take no issue because it would have nothing to do with me. They would be scoring their current elected officials, and that would be appropriate. But that's not the case. And they can't explain it. And as a matter of fact, screenshot that again. Okay? There's a screenshot. I just took it. So we got it forever. Okay? We got it forever. We know that that's the deal. I did not receive it. I should have received it. And that's that. And remember, I told you, you know what? Okay. And what I said yesterday, I meant it. And I'm not speaking ill will to the LGBTQ plus community, but you have to be mindful. Again, it's hyper marginalized groups. And I fall in a hyper marginalized groups. The intersectionality of the hyper marginalized group for me, I have to be very mindful. I have to take it very seriously what I project out in the world. That's why I'm very, very particular about the company that I keep and those with whom I work, so that it is not projected. And I protect those things. And I even protect my values in that regard, even as it relates to the different groups that I support, including the LGBTQ plus community. But it appears that you LGBTQ plus community, Democrats of Mecklenburg County, that membership, that specific membership, you have failed your group, your specific fellow LGBTQ plus members by projecting a scorecard that is not inclusive of all of the candidates. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay, so that should answer the question. I would say the person who evidently posed it, but because I have not spoken to them yet, I'm going to let it be. I said it in the other video, so if you heard it, then you heard it. And it was not to be mean or to berate anyone in public, none of that. But we have to stop voting in the manner that we have been voting in. And really, I'm talking about you, y'all. You have to stop voting with your emotions. You have to stop voting for the money. You have to stop voting in a popularity contest. You need to pick up your ballot and you need to research the candidates and make your decisions objectively. I've given you my list. I've affirmed again out loud that my mistake in double checking Sherry Beasley is really quite ironic, because I would double check her in affirmation. Okay, so let's move on because I only have a few minutes. And really, it will take only a few minutes to go over this because you're going to see it. And then you'll be able to see my face because I'm going to, let's see here. And actually, let me see if let me call him at 8. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. Let's go to City of Charlotte. And let's pull up downloads. The budget. What happened? What we do? What I do? Okay, fine. No problem. We'll pull it up from here. Let's go to City of Charlotte. City Council meeting. Strategy session. There we go. Here it is. May 2nd, which was yesterday, right? This is what they were doing. This day budget. I'm being playful here. Okay. All right, so looks like we're gonna be downloading this again. It'll be fine. I'll delete it in a second. All right. So in looking at this this budget tonight, and remember, I have in the past called out the budget and the very odd line items, especially the repetitive miscellaneous items that are underexplained, which they tend to demonstrate a greater likelihood of misappropriation of funds. And they still haven't been explained to this day. They have not been explained at all. And I've posed the question over and over again. I've posed it directly at city council meetings. I believe it was twice I've done it. And that's why I have this thing. I don't attend the city council meetings on a regular basis because I just feel like they just give us more and more of nothing. And it's disrespectful. So, yeah. All right. So when looking at this budget, I first wanted to stop at the summary of tax levies. And I read through the first 47 pages or so, and I was completely unimpressed. The city manager's pages they look like a very elementary business plan with just a lot of copy. If you're familiar with the term, it basically means just writing pretty words, like the copy or the written text that would appear in your websites and things like that. You want it to be very inviting and appealing to your target audience. And it's very much so that, but it's very much so laced with fluff, if you will, pomp and circumstances, but not enough details. Okay. So I went on past that because I was just like, I was unimpressed. So then we continue on. Okay. And I understand where for some that, the first 44 pages will be easier read because there's a lot of numbers in the rest of the budget. However, some of these things, like I'll show you, they should have already been in place. And this Vision Zero is not realistic. And when you do strategic implementation planning, you're setting your SMART goals, having realistic, which is part of the acronym for SMART, SMART, the R being realistic. This is not realistic, especially on the basis that they're using, which is basically giving more money to the police department, which is not helping to solve the record highs of traffic related deaths and injuries and traffic violations. Too often they have escalated those situations unnecessarily so. And so trying to throw more quote unquote police officers at the driving issues is not going to resolve this. A lot of these car accidents result from mental health crises, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, improper licensure, and I'm referring to maybe having fear that they will be caught, so driving fast on the roads without the proper tags and things of that nature. And that, of course, often results from what? Economic hardship. There's so much more that is involved in this than what they have suggested here. And just throwing $12.6 million into what they're suggesting is not enough. The pedestrian signals, I've been taking the bus to ascertain our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, which is SWOT analysis. And a lot of them do not work effectively. That's a problem. It's a lot. There have been a lot of individuals that have been, our pedestrians that have been hit. So the pedestrian themselves is not the issue. They're following the signs and the drivers they may be under the influence, driving while impaired. Those are the issues that need to be addressed. And again, they stem from issues that cannot be resolved by throwing a police officer in Charlotteans' face without helping them to manage the life crises that they're dealing with that are at a deeper issue and cause for the major issues that we have with car accidents. Okay, so you can read through it. Please do provide me your input. Let me look and see if I got any more comments here. You have any questions? I'm trying to get through it. Okay. All right. Wait, I hope you can see this. It's not showing that you see this. Well, you should. Hold on. Oh, yeah, you do see it. Okay. Okay, you may be able to hear my... It's so funny. I was going to get the screen. Okay. Let me make sure you can see this because it's not showing me. So give me 1 second. Make sure. My phone is lagging. I hope we're still live. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you can see exactly what, okay, perfect. Just making sure. We need to keep it on point. Okay. So want to make sure you can see come out of that. And make sure you can see and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, it's more important that you see the documents. Okay. So okay. Yes, I can see it. You can see it. Awesome. Okay. Now let's go to the alarming parts of this budget. And there are many. But oh boy. We're just going to go over the few that I saw today. And there were two of great importance. We will continue our discussion on who on the ballot we can trust later this week. And we will continue our review of the city budget because the math is not mathing, but we're going to end today at 8 o'clock. Okay. All right. So let's go on. So since we're here, let's start with this one. So this is the summary, and there's actually three things. So I'm going to try to get to them very quickly. Okay. So if you're still with me, still rocking with me tonight, I appreciate you. I really do. Okay. Okay. This is the summary of position allocations by fund. This FTE, it stands for full-time equivalent. Okay, so I'm going to try to quickly explain to you what full-time equivalent means if you don't know. So positions is literal, job positions. So we got city attorney, city clerk, like literal, mayor and city council, the police department, and you see that number. We're going to come back to that number, okay? All right. The full-time equivalent basically is an HR term for accounting purposes that says if this job takes 200 hours to complete, how many people do we need to hire to complete this 200 hours of work? And what do you consider full-time for those purposes, right? So if we use 40 hours as our full-time basis, right, 40 hours per week, then that would be the equivalent of one FTE. So you can have one employee can complete 40 hours, and that would be one FTE. In this case, if I'm saying 200 hours, then generally we cap people at working 40 hours per week, right? So then we would need to hire what? 5 employees to cover that 200 hours of work that we have calculated will be necessary to complete this task, this job, right? Okay, this task, this job, this project. Okay, look at this. The police budget has remained nearly 200% more than the fire department budget for years. This has been consistent since at least 2015 from the files that I pulled up, and I'll be able to show you that as well. And you can look it up at your convenience. I'm going to show you very quickly in a second how you can get to this and pull it up. And I believe I've already pulled it up on one side here. Let me make sure. Yes. So you can go right here to this website, Charlotte, North Carolina, or charlottenc.gov/budget. It's right here. I'll actually copy paste it and put it on my page. Let me do that now. I'm gonna put it right here. Boom. It's there. So you got it. Okay. All right. So let's go back over here. So nearly 200%, or actually more than 200% more than the fire department. For every other department, it is overshadowed. Excuse me. That's how much it is enlarged. That's how much it is inflated. Good gracious. That it has gotten me choked up. So they're saying that effectually you would need this many FTEs to cover the work that needs to be done in Charlotte that is within the scope of authority for the police. That should concern us. Now, we know that we do have increased crime, and that is unfortunate. But we do also know that not all crime is motivated by the criminally minded. It's not always a premeditated act. It's not always a heinous act. A lot of the crimes are petty crimes, and a lot of these crimes are result again from drug abuse, which is, a gateway from mental health disorders, or been subject to domestic abuse, and just so many different things, or sexual abuse. So we're not addressing the issue. We're just throwing more police officers, which is effectively criminalizing all of these matters that should not be criminalized. And we should be looking at this more with intervention in mind at the forefront. So this is a problem. This is a huge problem. And this has been consistent. And evidently, even in this budget, as you see, they want to add one more FTE to the bill. That's the problem. All right, 754. Let's go on down. All right, so then I scroll down some more because I want numbers. So I want to see the summary of revenues. And I'm looking through, and everything is, definitely inflated. Honey, it's inflated. But then I see something. Let me scroll up so you can see this right here. What I need is a larger pointer. So I'm going to encircle this. So I get to looking at this and I say, wait, hold on. Because that says business privilege licenses. Business privilege licenses. Okay? Honey, I said, now wait. Now, you all know that Tigress, we're going to talk in the third person for a second, that I've owned my business since 2010. I incorporated in 2012. So I ran it as a sole proprietorship initially, and then I incorporated, and it's been incorporated ever since. And I started my business in Greensboro, where I'm originally from, and they have a requirement for, it's called a city business privilege license. And I said, no, wait. So I moved here in Charlotte in 2015, and I recall very vividly going to the city government office, going to the Register of Deeds and seeing what I needed to do with regards to my assumed name for certificate, my certificate of assumed name use that I have registered in Gifford County, and asking questions about, will they be integrated? Will it carry over effectually? And trying to, of course, get my business privilege license here in Charlotte to make sure that I was compliant. Because remember, my claim to fame for my business consulting services, part of the reason why the communities have given me the nickname Queen Get Her Done, is not because I'm Queen Get Her Fast and flimsy and haphazard and impulsive. It's because I'm Queen Get Her Thorough. Okay? Thorough. And I bring things that I set as goals in fruition. And properly so. And I offer business legitimacy services, which entails obtaining a business privilege license if such is required. But here's why this looks funky. This is funky. Want to know why this is funky? I'm going to show you why it's funky. So they're claiming that they received in the pandemic, honey, 2020, this is actual, 2021 actual, $10,416 and $9,628. Okay? Why is that business license funky? Let me show you. Let's go to, oh goodness, Representative Brawley, who was a Republican, NC House, and he repealed, I shouldn't even be able to pull it up just like that. Yeah, right there. Let's see. He previously served on the chair, he was a chair of the State House Finance Committee. He evidently resigned from the chair, but it looks like he also served in 2018 is when he initially lost. I'm sorry, not lost. He actually left office. Let's see here. Wait, repeal business license. And then I'm going to show you so this is directly from the North Carolina, you see this here, legislature. I can't talk tonight. This is a .gov, so we know it is a legitimate website. Okay. Repeal business licenses. Repeal business license fees, April 22nd, 2015. So, at that time, currently, it allowed for municipalities, so that would be the city of Charlotte, to regulate and license occupations, businesses, trade, professions, and forms of amusement or entertainment, and prohibit those that might be inimical to the public health, welfare, safety, order, or convenience. Okay? But this was repealed. What does that mean, Tigress? That means that there are no business privilege licenses anymore since 2015. And that's what I learned when I moved here. They told me, no, you don't need one because we don't have that anymore. That's been repealed. So then what is this, Charlotte? What is that? And it appears consistently for every year, and I'm just going to run through them real quick, show you. And then we're going to end this live. Okay? So this is from 2015. Well, it would be appropriate in 2015. So let's go to 2016. Because, of course, in 2015, for a period, for the latter part of the year, I'm pretty sure, with managing and everything and implementation of the repeal, which would still be effective immediately, upon ratification of the law. But nonetheless, we'll just go to 2016. Let's just, give grace. Okay. Let's give a little grace, even though grace is not deserved. Let's give a little grace. Okay. So we're going to go to the table of contents. So it's easy to find 130. Let's go to 130. Let's just get closer to it. It's not going to get us directly to the 130, but we're going to get closer. There's 118. All right, let's go to 130. And this is showing you that you can look at this with the same lens that I am. Okay? All right. So this makes sense. We should see 0, right? Fiscal year 2016 budget 0 in business licensure. But no, honey. No, honey. Let's go to 2017. What is going on, Charlotte? What is going on? Okay. Let's see here. Trying to get to, again, the summary of revenues. That's what we're looking for. Okay. And this again is a 2017. And while we're going this way, I'm going to stop so that you can see that the position allocations have remained the same. I should have done that on 2015, but you can go back to that and you can verify what I'm reporting. Oh, honey. All right, we're almost there. All right, here we go. Again, summary of revenues, general fund 2017. Okay. Now this is odd. Revise 0, 0. That seems like that should be correct, right? Because there is no business privilege license. Now, mind you, someone's going to probably come back to this recording and say, oh, no, and they're going to try to over-justify, right? And they're going to say, well, it is, that line item is for other types of licenses. No, look here. Here is this. There are line items for other types of licenses and permits. Carrier franchise fees, sexually oriented business licenses, parking and parade permits, vehicle for hire. These should then be under this for licenses and permits. Like if there were a peddler permit, should be here. Because this nomenclature is used, it directly signifies that it is for business privilege licenses. This is a very specific jargon. And it is inexcusable that the city has not recodified this line item if it is not a business privilege license. Okay, so you got the zeros here, and then I'm gonna have to go because I said I'm already late. But I want you to see the progression here. This is all pretty much, in my opinion, this is textbook embezzlement. If this cannot be sufficiently explained. And I have requested an explanation. Okay, so let's go. I didn't get a chance to show you the police budget, but we're going to get to it. Give me this. I need the... All right, there we go. Summary of revenue, 138. Wait, was that it? Okay, so I want you to see this again, though. 235 million for the police department. Just so you see that. Look at that number as opposed to every other number. You've got to look into this. And they're getting another. And please understand, I know that the job is a dangerous job. I know what is entailed with that position. I know this. I know that they need to pay above a living wage to attract quality police candidates. I know this. I get it. But this is ridiculous. We're trying to solve our problems that are not criminal with criminalization. We can't do that. We got over criminalization and we know it. Okay. Let's go here. Where was it? 138. Oh goodness, I passed it. 138. Oh, there it is. Here we go. Now, honey, what's going on here? How did we have nothing? You saw it, because this is past tense. Why do we have $213,515 in summary of revenue? Why do we have this much in revenue from business privilege licenses if we saw the zeros aforetime? And we know that the business privilege license was repealed. What's going on? And then I showed you from this year. All right. And let me see if I can. I was looking for the positions. Normally it's before it. Hold on. Let's see. It's before. I want to go back to the FTEs. I want to go to the summary of position allocations. I'm hoping that I can show you again, but you can look this up. It's readily available to you. And you'll see that what in the world is going on here. And there have been many articles. I can't find it readily. We will go over this more, but I can't find it readily. And I want to show you the last year so that we can put two and two together. Because it's not, the math is not mathing. And then I'm going to go. The math is not mathing. What's going on here? And that was just my quick review. And of course, it would stick out like a sore thumb to me because it's what I do on a regular basis. I'm a business consultant. Amongst, my other consulting services that I offer as a scientist and economist. So when I saw business privilege license, I was like, what? That's not a thing anymore. All right, so then let's go straight away. 138 again on this one. There's just so many concerns. So many concerns. Okay, right here. Saying 0 and 0. But then let's go back. Let's make sure. 2019. Come on. It's taking its time. Come on. It just does not add up, y'all. We need to know what's going on. We really do. Okay. Last one, and I'm going to invite you to take a look at it yourselves. And then I'm going to revisit this later. And I'll be able to show you even more detail. And I'm sure that I will uncover some other issues. And the point of this is not to somehow oust them. The point of this is we want transparency in all of our city governments. I wanted it for Greensboro as well. We want it in all of our city government. We want this to stop because we need this revenue, which a lot of it comes from our taxation. And don't get it twisted. I pay taxes for my business and personal. Even where I may get the tax credits that offset my federal taxation, honey, I pay state taxes, so do not get it twisted. I pay them. Let's see here. Summary of revenues. So that's on 120. Let's go to 120 real quick, and then that's it here for the night. Why is it just, good gracious, like 30 pages off? Okay. Here we go. And we still getting money. You see how it says revised on the last one and it says 00. But we still getting money, 26,175. Where is this coming from? And that's why I said it's textbook embezzlement, because it's it's an incremental deduction that may not be so significant in the entire budget. And most people, if they're not in business, then they're not going to pay attention to the nomenclature of business privilege license, and they're going to believe that it's appropriate for the budget. They're going to believe that it's appropriate. But if you are in business or have been in business, and if you have any reasonable knowledge regarding business privilege licenses, now some people are in business, they don't know. But if you're like me, or you have a similar affinity in this arena, then this sticks out like a sore thumb. Okay? So we need an explanation on that. And again, it can't be justified by, oh, well, no, we just had not recodified that line item yet. And it actually is not for business privilege licenses. It's for these types of licenses. Well, then it should have been properly recodified. So that's still a problem. Why is the city budget and city funds, why are they being mishandled? And why is the accounting improper? Okay. All right. So I'm going to now